And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. Matt, we're back again. Took a week off last week. You got called away. I needed to recharge after running around to vote and everything. But I have to say, I think this episode is going to be that much better for it.
I think so too. I was looking at the news before we started, and there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. We're not going to be talking about Visions this week because Joel hasn't seen it, so don't ask us.
I haven't seen it yet. I plan to. I'm watching it with a person. That's the problem. I haven't seen a lot of the new stuff from this week. I'm sitting on like 3 episodes of Law & Order I need to catch up on. That show came back.
Nice. Thank you, Michelius, for the subscription. 20 months. Jesus Christ.
Hot damn. Just there. I think 20 months, I think that makes him a black belt. In the greater scheme of comic book shows, I believe that makes him a black belt. Don't worry, Tevye. We're going to get to all of that. We got a big stack of news this week. But as always, it wouldn't be a proper comic multiverse show if I didn't ask Matt, how's your week been, Matt? I haven't seen you in over a week, so because of that, it feels like an eternity.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. My week was good. We were talking just before we started. I started watching the trash reality TV show Hardcore Porn, which is like Porn Stars and all those type of shows, except it's like worse.
Yes, they tried to be the Pepsi to Pawn Stars Coke, only where Pawn Stars kind of is like, oh no, we're a show about history and education and you can learn stuff in it. Hardcore Pawn is just like, what if we just showed people yelling and fighting at each other?
Yeah, what if our show was exclusively about crackheads?
Yeah, if you missed the show when it was new, and oh boy, did they go from 0 to 60 in that show all the time. And I'm sure 90% of it is staged.
Oh, probably 99% of it is staged. I guarantee you it's all staged.
Yeah, because no one would be like that. But man, if you love car crash viewing, it's all on. I mean, not all, as Matt was saying before. It's actually very, very incomplete, but on Amazon if you want to put something on in the background.
Yeah, it's as you said, fantastic, like background noise, just sure like is. Trash. Every now and then you'll look up and someone's dressed up as a vampire trying to sell a bongo drum,
My favorite bit, and I was just reacquainted with it recently, is he's telling the lady there, oh, I'm sorry, these stones are fake. She then whips out her titty and goes like, is this fake? What can I get for that, motherfucker? just comedy gold. That's funnier than anything anyone could write. Also, the chat reminding us there that new Batman audio drama came out on HBO Max. Yeah, it did. I kept meaning to listen to it because I figured there's like enough room on the channel this week I could get around to it, so maybe I still will.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that was coming out yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
It got a pretty big push. I saw like people in my feed talking about it, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, we talked about the webtoon not last week, but 2 weeks ago. Matt had actually read it and he quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm waiting I'm going to do it in like 3-issue lots just because the like one issue isn't long enough to warrant like its own video. So yeah, I'm waiting for 3. I'm like banking 3 issues before I talk about it again.
Smart. Yeah, I should probably get into it too. I should probably check that one out. Oh, I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows. Don't you worry, Magmaster. Yes. I haven't watched the new one yet, but oh man, the episode before that where they went to Atlantic City, holy shit.
It's pretty good.
Bring up an interesting piece of vampire lore that they need the soil of their homeland or else they lose their powers. I'm like, oh yeah, they're going right back to it, aren't they? That's right as well, Bizarro Guy. Doom Patrol came back this week with not 1 but 3 episodes.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode. I haven't watched the remainder 2.
Right, and by the first episode, we of course mean the finale for season 3 we did not get.
Yeah.
Thanks COVID, for making us wait 2 years. You can tell they had to move stuff around where they're like, oh, we had an ending in mind, but now we can't really do it because we have to end the show but also set up the next season. So I guess the Candlemaker ends up not being that big a threat at all, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Like, don't get me wrong, I like it. It's all very good in like the last 15 minutes when they wrap up everyone's story and they put it all to the sounds of All I Need Is the Air That I Breathe. That's good. I just wish some of the other stuff could have been different in how we got there.
Yeah.
What's even funnier too is what they do with the Miranda character. It's like, oh, so we're diverting from the comic now. Actually, no, we're coming back to it. Did we say it was actually Arthur Chalice? What we meant was it actually was the weird, otherworldly, undescribable evil from the book, because it has to be, because we basically need to come up with a new final boss for
new
this.
threat. Yeah.
Yeah. At the 11th hour, the B plot ends up becoming the A plot, and I'm like, all right, fine, sure, whatever. It's fine. It's still good. The next 2 episodes are also pretty good. They cram in a lot of interesting references to other Doom Patrol stories, and ooh, you see some characters who people have been asking for a very long time.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, I won't spoil that for you. I will just say it is good stuff. And thanks, Functurile. I think that's how you pronounce that. Either way, thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I guess with that, if no one else has any other business to attend to, we can hop into the news from this week, because there's a hell of a lot of it.
Yeah, we can.
Right. A lot of this is this week and last week, everyone. So if you hear a story, it's like, oh, it was a while ago. That's why.
Yeah.
So I guess the first and biggest piece of news we need to catch up on is the Hawkeye trailer came out for the new Disney Plus show.
It did, yeah.
And wow, I swear I always have this moment of like, oh, they're going to start resting on their laurels eventually. When are they going to start getting lazy with these shows, and they're going to start stop capturing, everyone's imagination? Then they put this out. It's like, oh, it's Hawkeye, but it's also a Christmas show. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yes, is Hawkeye a Christmas TV show or not?
Yeah, it is now. To which I'm like, I am a soft lay, and that is all I need, apparently. No, this looks really good. This is everything I want from a Hawkeye series. We got the tracksuit Draculas. We got all the other characters. We got the family stuff, and it's them actually dealing with the fallout of Ronin that the movies never really did. And that's like, hey, you killed a bunch of people, Clint.
Yeah, that seems to be like the big inciting incident that Ronin murdered a bunch of people, and not only that Kate has adopted that persona as her own, and obviously that's leading to people coming after her.
Which is very classic Marvel Comics, where like everyone has adopted the Ronin persona.
Everyone gets to be Ronin at one point.
It's true. It's like it's like Spider-Man. Everybody gets one. Steinfeld is great as Bishop. Like in just the few couple lines we hear her speak, I'm like, yep, she got it.
Yeah, she sounds exactly how I would imagine Kate Bishop would sound.
She's kind of a fangirl. She's kind of like O'Doy about it, but also she might be more competent than Clint himself. So there's just a lot of stuff to love about this. And there's stuff we haven't even seen yet. Like the Mime is supposed to be in here. We're probably going to see some Black Widow fallout in this as well.
Well, I mean, at the end of Black Widow, we got that tease that Yelena will be coming after Clint in some way.
Yeah, so there's a lot to look forward in this, and it's like, so it starts in November, but it goes all the way through December. So we next to Iron Man 3, we have the next great, and I guess Batman Returns, we have another one for the pantheon of great superhero Christmas stories. Oh, and Shazam, of course.
Shazam, yeah. I also like as well that they I don't think they did it in any of the movies. Well, I think they might have hinted at it, but here it's pretty pronounced that Hawkeye actually wears his hearing aids.
Yes, that's right. They're finally.
I don't think we ever saw them in the films or anything.
Yeah, we did not, which that's very cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll get any reference to, or maybe he'll show up, Barney Barton, who was also a pretty big deal in the Fraction story that this show is very clearly taking all its reference from.
Maybe. I know we're getting Swordsman. We're getting Jacques Duquesne.
Nice.
And
well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's essentially, Clint's adopted dad, so they're probably going to have to talk about the circus of crime and everything. So that's going to be very cool. I'm very excited. Yeah, there's a whole world of Hawkeye weirdness that they can introduce us to here in this show that the movies never could. Yeah,
I think it's going to actually surprise a lot of people that don't know anything really about Hawkeye outside of the films. And they're going to realize, like, he's a circus of crime. Weird kind of French swordsman guys, tracksuit Draculas, pizza dogs, and all
pizza dogs. I'm glad Pizza Dog gets to be in the poster, and I like that.
Yeah,
because Pizza Dog is the other most important character in the Fraction Hawkeye run. You see. It's very necessary. I hope they keep that joke from the comic where he looks at the collar and it says Arrow and he's like, no, fuck that. That's not your name. I really hope they keep that joke because that joke is just brilliant. But yeah, Hawkeye looks great, and it did its job too because it actually got people excited for a Hawkeye show, which I thought would be hard to do.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad people are excited for Hawkeye, and it's about time as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, too, I like they have a Hamilton style musical theater thing
for
in
the
trailer
Avengers.
Yeah, Rogers, and I'm like, haha, joke's on you, Marvel, because I would totally pay to see that.
Oh,
if
they
I
knew.
could.
They knew we would. They knew we would.
Look, that's when the Marvel Cinematic Universe spreads itself too thin, when we have to start going to see musical stage plays on Broadway to keep it all straight.
Oh, this is part of Phase 16. You know, you got to go see the stage musical, but it's only available in New York.
Oh, of course. We joked about this, but I remember, like, for all those Disneyland attractions they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna start doing Marvel themed dinner theater on our boats and everything, and it's going to be interactive. And I'm like, okay, is that going to be a part of canon though? Because, like, I'm not saying that I won't go to keep track of it, because I will. I will. And also, when they say it's interactive, like, what's that going to be? Like, Captain America just comes up and says, hey, how you enjoying those lemon pepper wings? Pretty good, Captain. Liking them a lot. Thanks. Interactive dinner theater, Phase 6. But yeah, Hawkeye looks dope. I'm very excited for this, and it's nice to know that, once again, all these Marvel shows have been very different thematically and stylistically.
Yeah, they've all had something that sets them apart from each other, which is great.
Yeah, again, I'm amazed that some people still trot out the very tired and stale argument of, like, oh, all the Marvel properties are cookie cutter, they're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand. It's like, are you watching these shows and movies? They're all completely different. The only thing they have in common is that they're all based around superheroes.
Yeah, pretty much. To which, again, it's like saying all comic stories are alike. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're all vast and different. Yes, they may share some of the same things here and there, but by and large, it's a vast tapestry of rainbow. It's a cosmic gumbo, if you will. Thanks, Santa. So yeah, I guess with that we can move on to our next story here. And solicitations came out while we're away, Matt. So we got a couple new series from DC and Marvel that we're going to be talking about that I'm sure we'll both be excited for. And first up is a brand new Sabertooth solo series by Laval.
Yeah, Sabertooth, a character we've barely even really heard of since, like, the beginning of Hickman's X-Men. He was, like, the first mutant to be, like, incarcerated within the island.
They took him off the table in a big bad way to try and show what this new status quo was all about. He was literally the first person sacrificed on, like, the altar of Krakoa.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes sense because Victor Creed's whole deal is like, I don't care about anything or anyone. I just do what I want. Ooh, well, you're not really going to get along now, will you, in this new Krakoa era?
Mm-hmm.
You're literally too much of a wild card. Like, even Mr. Sinister and Mystique and Apocalypse will pretend to follow the rules.
Yeah, he won't. And yeah, he proved it when he was attacking all those people in New York.
Yeah, so they put him in the big tree, and apparently issue 1 of this series is going to be explaining, okay, what happens when you get put in the big tree?
I imagine it's some type of stasis or something,
That's what they said.
Some prison or something. Maybe it's something like what the Eternals have, that void where you, like, have to, like, face your past crimes and stuff.
Maybe. They certainly described it as something horrible where it's like, you'll be awake, but you'll not be able to move or see or do anything. So we basically trapped you in your own consciousness.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a horrible fucking nightmare. And if he was pissed off before, he'll be really pissed off now.
Oh, yeah.
We also see the tree and a bunch of stuff on fire, which makes you think, oh, is this going to be a side effect of the Inferno storyline? Does something happen that ends with Sabertooth getting out?
I could see maybe Mystique freeing him.
Makes sense because they work together a lot.
Yeah, and she has a bone to pick with Xavier and Magneto.
She very literally wants to burn it all down, so why not bring out a guy who is essentially unkillable?
Yep.
and who has many bones to pick with everyone else as well. Yeah, works for me. This is also, I think, yeah, this is like the first Sabertooth solo series ever.
Really? Ever?
Yes. Yes, I think he's had miniseries before in the past and like special one-shots, but this is the first ongoing.
Oh, okay.
Which works for me. I have always loved Sabertooth. He's always been one of my favorite mutants, and I'm sure people are like, really? But he's so simplistic. Yeah, that's why I like him.
He's so easy to understand. He big, he tough, he destroy thing.
He mean. Even when they tried to make him a hero ever so briefly, when they inverted him and he basically became Wolverine on like the Uncanny Avengers for a minute, still so simple.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he works for other people, sometimes he works for himself. The only thing you really need to know is that he hates Wolverine so goddamn much. He's going to stop at nothing to kick his ass, which means we'll probably eventually get that story too.
Yep.
Down the line. But yeah, so there's Sabertooth. I'm excited for it, and I never thought I would be excited for a Sabertooth book.
I know, especially if it's so integral, we're implying that it is. I imagine it would be, considering, you know, it's been, you know, almost 2 years since we last saw him, and he was put away in a big way. So
yes, very much so. I mean, it is going to be an important piece of the puzzle where it's like, okay, what does life imprisoned by Krakoa look like? So that'll be interesting to see. Again, how hellish is it? You know, is this another, mark for the war crimes column for Krakoa?
You know it will be. You know it will be.
Yeah. Again, will he come out, you know, how will he come out changed and everything? And also, his time in there, has Cerebro been making backups of him the whole time he's been in there? I wonder.
Yeah.
That'll be very interesting to see. Or again, this could be like one of those like Joker situations where the book is called Sabertooth, but it's actually not about him at all.
Oh, yeah.
That could totally be a thing they do, which I wouldn't be shocked. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be cool as well.
Yeah, absolutely. More X-Men news coming down the pipeline, and this is kind of a sad one, but one that I'd kind of been bracing myself for anyway for several reasons, and that is Hellions, probably one of my favorite books in the Reign of X-Men line, is going to be concluding at issue 18, so very soon.
It's got a very fitting cover for the conclusion as well.
Certainly does. Thumbs down. You all get thumbs down, you little fucks. Yeah, this, of course, makes sense for several reasons. One, Zeb Wells is going off to be part of the big Spider-Man team, so he probably couldn't write this one or continue writing it. Also, if you have been reading the book, you'll know that as of the last issue, they have basically set up the big end game.
Yep.
You know, Sinister has turned traitor on the rest of his team. He's revealed that he's working on the Chimera mutants, that Empath was actually a secret sleeper agent for Emma Frost. Yeah, the book pretty much had to end now because I don't know how they would keep going after that.
It's run out of story, yeah.
Well, it's like they told the story. The story is done. And it's so funny, too, because this book was born out of the end cancellation of Fallen Angels. So Fallen Angels turned into this, and then this story ended. I wonder if we'll get to see, you know, I mean, Havoc and Psylocke, definitely, they're probably going to go off to somewhere else. But I wonder about Wild Child and, Nanny and Orphan Maker and everything else, if we'll see them go join other teams.
They'll go back into the ether of forgotten mutants.
Of underused characters, which is a shame because this is the coolest they've been.
Yeah,
I really want to see Grey Crow on somewhere else. Hey, maybe the Reavers will get a book after this, and he'll, you know, lead a heroic version of the Reavers.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I like Grey Crow. It's cool that he's a Native American character who they're really boosting. And also, they don't call him Scalp Hunter anymore because that's like pretty fucked up that one of the most prominent Native characters has what is basically a slur in his name. So, yeah, I would very much like to see him go somewhere else and do something else.
Yeah.
Wild Child will also disappear because now we have Sabertooth, and Wild Child has always just been poor man Sabertooth. He's the one who gets the most fucked up. Where he's like, oh, God, friggin' Sabertooth is back. Well, just fuck me then, huh?
That's what the Sabertooth book is about. It's about him, not actually Sabertooth.
Oh, my God. If they did that, that would be amazing. It's sad to see Hellions go because this filled that Secret Six-sized hole in my heart for like weird, fucked up underdog dark comedy. But, you know, here's hoping Zeb Wells can maybe bring some of that to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I imagine he will.
I'm sure he will. So yeah, there's Hellions, everyone. Don't weep because it's gone. Smile because it existed. That's what I say. Now, moving on from there, I mentioned Spider-Man, and hilariously enough, our next piece of news involves Spider-Man. So, comic legend, who is still kicking and still working and still turning out amazing work to this day, J.M. motherfucking DeMatteis, is returning to Marvel to pen a brand new Ben Reilly Spider-Man solo series.
Yeah, holy shit.
So this is kind of like what Peter David did with the symbiote Spider-Man, where it's like, okay, so these are stories that happened in the past. They kind of connect, but they kind of don't. It's a mini series now, but if people like it, he's going to keep writing it, is the thing.
Yeah.
And I just cannot believe that, where it's like, oh, so the 90s are back again in 2021. You literally got one of the original guys, one of the original architects back to be like, yeah, keep writing it. It's in 2021. Wait, but didn't people not like it back then? And didn't they get mad at us? Yeah, but we're going all in on Ben Reilly now in 2021.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People will like it because of that.
Probably, yeah, because now it's like before we hated him, but now we're nostalgic for him. It's like when you get nostalgic for a bad movie, like Battlefield Earth is a bad movie, but then it's like it's so bad you have to see it.
Yeah.
And also true, like I think a lot of fans too, in the years from the Clone Saga to now, have been less afraid to get more vocal, even amongst our own fan base, to be like, yeah, but Ben was like my Spider-Man when I started, and I always liked him, and I always thought people were mean to him, and I would like to keep reading about him, please. And now they can.
Yeah.
You can read about him in two places. You can read about him here, and apparently read about him in the main Spider-Man book, where he's going to be a big deal. So, there you go. If you're a Ben Reilly fan, this is a goddamn great year for you. Now, here's a question I want to pose you, Matt. I posed this on Twitter, and I think it bears repeating for the show. What do we think all this newfound love for Ben Reilly means? That he's going to be a big wheel in this Spider-Man book, Spider-Man Beyond, and he's getting his own solo by like a legendary writer. What do we think this means?
I don't know. It could be related to another piece of news we got coming up later on.
Right.
Just because it's not Peter Parker.
Right.
It could be related to that news. But I don't know. Maybe they just think, it's like time. He spent his tenure in comic book jail.
Yeah, really. He served his time, and now we got to reintegrate him into society.
Yeah.
Longtime fan of the show, Jace Jensen, asking the hard questions. But Kane, where is Kane? Oh, they're going to do something with Kane, either in this book or in Spider-Man Beyond, because all these freaking Peter Parker clones are joined at the goddamn hip. We'll get him, we'll get Carrion, we'll probably get the Jackal again.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get the Jackal at some point.
At some point. I mean, look, they're not going to do these and not bring the ball back. Maybe Spider-Side will return at some point. Remember Spider-Side, everybody? I mean, most people don't, but I do. What about the Scryers? Where's the Order of Scryers at these days? Or
where's Madam Web and
exactly.
Ezekiel and
Judas Traveler?
Yeah.
Now, where's Judas Traveler? The Captain Kun helping us out here. Marvel in the 90s. I guess you aren't ready for Ben Reilly yet, but your kids are going to love him. Wow. I didn't think about that, but I think you're right. Holy shit. Man. I mean, my theory was obviously like, are they throwing so much love at Ben Reilly because they have some sort of movie or TV pitch in mind for him? Because that seems to be, you can pretty much, set your watch to it for Marvel. If someone is getting a big push in the comics, it means because we're going to put him in a video game or a movie or a TV show or something.
Yeah, I could see him appearing somewhere.
I know some people have theorized, and it's maybe like a little too good to be true, but do you think this is maybe like Disney Marvel's olive branch to Sony to be like, look, we want to keep Tom Holland, we want to keep telling Peter Parker movies, but you can have this other Spider-Man, he's just as good. Look at all these books he's in.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield is Ben Reilly.
Yeah, as I said, it could also be tied into a story we've got coming up later in the show,
Maybe.
just as like a sort of way to get around that, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, let's keep going and let's see where that takes us. So all right, from there we have some more new Marvel series news there. Apparently Wastelanders is a new book that they're going to be launching. This is a continuation of the Old Man Logan, Old Man Hawkeye, Old Man Star-Lord like group of series now. They're finally crossing them all over.
Yeah, and they're introducing the old lady Black
Black
Widow
Widow.
into it
Yeah.
among other characters.
You see, being old isn't just for the boys anymore. Women get old too. But I love it's like Black Widow where it's like, yeah, she's old, but she has to like age gracefully. She's still got to be like a Helen Mirren Silver Fox. Come on, guys.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Come on, guys. She wouldn't let herself go that badly. Come on. The future of Marvel, it's old.
Now I wonder if this will pick up after Old Man Logan got sent back to his future.
Good question. Yeah, is this the same Old Man Logan who we've been hanging out with, or is this just like, the regular Old Man Logan of the original story?
Yeah, I have to imagine they would have to have continued that story, because aren't they doing something also with him in that 10 Lives of Wolverine and 10 Deaths of Wolverine?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably that makes sense. Man, to think that Wolverine is just such a profitable character that even the old man version of him continues to come back and be a major player.
Well, not only that, the old man version was like the main version of him for like
true.
2 years or something.
And he was good, and we liked him a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, well, what do we do with Wolverine to make him interesting? Make him even older and surlier and make it so he can't heal as good?
Hey, I'm going to dress him up like, Clint Eastwood in like
Oh my God, yes.
Name,
Because he used to dress like Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, because the Old Man Logan story is just Unforgiven.
Yep.
That's my favorite thing about that, where it's like, oh, it's just such a classic, timeless, comic book story. Dude, he clearly just watched Unforgiven that night and was like, what if Wolverine was in it? And what if it was in the Mad Max future? Gold. 10 out of 10. Never let anyone tell you writing comics is hard, because sometimes it's just like, I like this thing. What if Wolverine was in it? Pride and Prejudice, but Wolverine is in it. Michael Clayton, but Wolverine is in it.
Hey, I'd watch that.
Yeah, really? What the fuck would that movie be like? Fast and the Furious, but Wolverine is in it.
Sold.
He's got to drive cars really fast, but why would he have to drive cars really fast? That's why.
But it can be more violent, because it doesn't matter if he gets in a car crashes or not, he'll still survive.
True enough. And again, I'm not going to lie, I didn't read the Hawkeye one. I didn't read the Star-Lord one. I stopped reading Old Man Logan when they changed a bunch of the writers over. So I don't know if I'm truly going to appreciate this one, but I know someone will, and that's good.
Star-Lord one was pretty cool. He was like running around with the Guardians, and halfway through the book, you realize none of the Guardians were actually alive, and they're all in his head because he's fucking insane.
Oh, no, he's got the Simers. He's seeing his friends.
Yeah.
We can really only hope for that, right? When we all get old and delusional, at least give me a happy delusion where it's me hanging out with the Guardians. B Black in the chat. Wolverine, he's like a Lowry seasoning. He just goes with everything. Basically,
he's the all-purpose seasoning.
He kind of is. Again, how many stories have we read where it's like, man, this isn't great. This is kind of boring. Oh, but Wolverine showed up in it. Okay, I'll read one more. This is going somewhere. Yeah, so there's your post-apocalyptic old people series, everyone. Now, after that, we actually have some new DC titles we can be looking forward to, and some of them are pretty damn interesting. This first one is something I feel that you and I, Matt, have been yelling into our mics forever for them to make happen, and they finally have.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Lemire is going to be writing a Black Label Swamp Thing book. It's called Swamp Thing Green Hell.
Yeah, it's him, and it's Doug Mahnke who's doing the artwork for it. The perfect combination. Finally,
it's about goddamn time. When they mentioned, Black Label, like, oh yeah, it's going to be DC superhero books, but with less restrictions and everything. This was the easiest layup. You do Swamp Thing because he used to be in Vertigo, and that's basically what you're trying to be. You're aspiring to be Vertigo.
Yeah, it's about time someone decided, hey, oh yeah, let's do them Swamp Things.
Yeah, how the hell did it take them this long? It's funny, for a second there, I'm just like, oh, cool, it's Jeff Lemire coming back to Swamp Thing again, from the New 52. And then I'm like, no, wait, he didn't write that. Scott Snyder wrote that. Jeff Lemire wrote Animal Man during the New 52.
Who
So,
will no doubt be in this book.
oh, yeah, oh, God, yeah. He'll be there. Constantine will be there. I would not be shocked if Lemire's like, let's get all the Vertigo characters in here we can.
Yeah, Frankenstein should be in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Doug Mahnke draws a really good Frankenstein.
He really, really does. Good call. Now, Green Hell is like a movie reference, right?
Yeah, well I know when Green Hell is usually referenced, that's like stuff with like Cannibal Holocaust. And all those type of movies, like, set in the Amazon with like the Amazon tribes eating people and whatnot.
It's a subgenre, yeah. So basically, Lemire's just pointing to the stands and calling it out. It's like, this is going to be fucked up.
I hope it is. It is.
We're going to be drawing some fucked up stuff.
Is Swamp Thing going to hang dong?
I certainly hope so. Big, green, mossy dong.
What the fuck would that even look like?
See, look, Jeff Lemire can get around. That's like, look, he's technically not a person, so it's technically not a penis, so it's okay. It's just a big, veiny vine between his legs. It's fine. Those aren't pubes. It's just moss. What was your problem? Jace Jensen helping us out again. Thank you as always, Jace. After Green Hell, can we maybe have a Black Label comedy book called Swamp Thing Green Out? it's just him sitting around getting absolutely fucking high out of his mind. Just token up, where it's like, okay, so Darkseid, he's looking for the anti-life equation. Well, I got the anti-life bong right here. We're gonna figure this out.
Hey, well, you just do a continuation of that Alan Moore Swamp Thing story where Superman ate like his mushrooms and fucking tripped balls.
Pretty much. It's just Swamp Thing going around to like god level characters in the DC universe and just smoking them out.
Challenging them to a smoke off.
Yeah, bet you can't, bet I can. And the Black Racer became oh so high that day. That he's like, I gotta slow down, man. I gotta stop racing all over the place and being the embodiment of death. Just gotta chill out, man. And Mr. Mixelplick said his own name backwards. He was so stoned. Yes, is the chat saying, now that's a giant-sized man thing. Now that's Marvel, but yes. He needs to say that when he gets his swamp dong out. Now that is what I call a giant-sized man thing. I broke the fourth wall in continuity to make that joke. But yeah, this is very cool. This is the first like Black Label book in a while I'm really excited for. And shockingly, it's the first one that ain't a Batman-centric one.
Yeah, how is Batman going to be worked into this? Hopefully not. I don't think he will be. No,
I don't think so either. Hell, that Batman World book came out. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I guess I'll review this. Oh, they're all really short stories? Okay, I'm not going to do a whole video on this.
They're both really short stories, and I think the book itself is like 200 pages long.
It is. It's ridiculously long, which don't get me wrong. I'm glad that all of these writers and artists got their chance. There looked to be some fun ones in there. I think like a Russian guy did a story in the back being like, I don't even recognize Batman anymore. He's so dark and gritty and Batman who laughs. What happened to the fun guy? And I'm like, that's funny that a Russian guy wrote that story. Where is Batman that I remember? He is cold and dark like my homeland. I wish it was different. But I think like that story ends with like his daughter reading a Wonder Woman story. Well, part of growing up is knowing he's not just for me anymore. It must be for a new generation as well. And I'm like, that's fun. I like that.
That's cool.
I like superhero stories that are like meta stories about fans too. You don't see it all the time, but I like it when they start talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else we got going on after that? More new titles. Now, this is Bat-centric, but it's a Bat book that people have been asking for forever. Becky Cloonan is going to be giving us the Batgirl starting very soon.
Yeah, it's about time, because this is teased all the way back in Future State.
Yep, and in Joker, and in the main Batman book, literally they have been, just teasing the shit out of this.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, where it's like, look, you're having a hard time with one Batgirl holding up a book because the Batgirl audience, clearly everyone has their favorite. Well, why not just give them all what they want and, have a team that's nothing but Batgirls?
Yeah.
Becky Cloonan is a good fit for this. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this is going to go. I'm definitely going to pick this one up.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely add that one to your pull list, everyone, if you haven't already. Not much else to say about that. Just yeah, this looks good, and they've been promising it to us. I'm glad we got it.
Yeah.
Another story that they're trying to hype up. This is happening in the Bendis Justice League book, which I stopped reading because once I had Justice League Infinity, I felt I didn't need it anymore. But apparently in 2022, Bendis is promising us the Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes.
Which makes sense and probably ties into Infinite Frontier, given the Great Darkness is a villain.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Huh, well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Crimson Echidna in the chat saying, where's my Duke Thomas book? Yeah, I think he was like in, what is it? What's that anthology Batman book? Urban Legends.
Urban Legends, yeah.
I think he was in Urban Legends for a bit. He doesn't get to be in the Robin's book because he technically never was a Robin, which is a shame.
Yeah. I just want them to continue his Future State story where like Jefferson Pierce became his fucking stand.
Oh yeah, where he became a JoJo character. I agree.
It was so fucking cool.
Yeah, where's that guy? Feels like everyone would want to read about that guy.
Yeah, everyone did. Everyone loved that goddamn outsider story they were doing in the back, and then it just like finished. It was like,
and that's Brandon. And that's Brandon Thomas too, who was like writing Outsiders for a bit, and he's like writing that Aqualad book now. It's like, well, why can't he make that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if, Duke Thomas just woke up one day and said, I have the power of God and anime on my side.
Yeah, I have the power of becoming an interesting character.
Yeah, I'm still the Signal. I'm just a little bit older, and like literally all of my teammates on the Outsiders are my weapons now. It's pretty fucking dope, I'm not gonna lie. Alrighty then. So after that, we have some more of the news from this week, and this is less new release stuff, and this is more like industry shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting industry shit, and it's stuff that I know people have been, chomping at the bit about. Oh, yes, NR in the chat is right. Duke is in the Webtoon series. You're right, he's over there. And people are liking him there, and he's actually serving a pretty good purpose, because they're like, yeah, what if Duke moved into the mansion, which I think he kind of did in the main universe, but they didn't make a big deal about it, and then he was gone before we knew it.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to what I was saying there. Big industry shakeups, big seismic shifts happening with some stuff that you might not have expected. Certain companies. These things seem unrelated at first, but as we're going to talk, I think these unrelated stories actually are quite related.
Yeah.
So first thing first, IDW this week made a very large move. They're changing their comic book distribution from Diamond over to Penguin and Random House, which I thought they already did, but apparently they didn't.
I think they were like maybe the last holdout.
They were one of the last holdouts, that for sure. I know they were definitely one of the more sizable holdouts. So yeah, it feels like Diamond has officially lost the second, third, fourth, first, like all the big companies.
Yeah, they're also it's been funny because like what was it? It was DC who left first.
Yep.
And then like Marvel followed suit after seeing that they're just like business as usual basically.
Yeah.
And then now IDW is left because again seeing that these companies are surviving without Diamond and maybe even flourishing and doing much better.
Doing new and interesting stuff, which begs the question, as we've been saying forever, Diamond, what the hell do you actually do?
What do you do here? What is your role?
What do you even do for us anymore? The answer is not much, and they're going to be doing even less now that they've lost IDW.
Yep.
And this kind of seems like, we're following suit, from Marvel and everything. They're working out, and it's all good for them, and maybe it'll be all good for us too. But maybe it won't, though, because our next story also involves IDW. And this one is kind of bad for them. So whether you knew it or not, IDW actually had a fairly interesting relationship with Marvel, where they were basically contracted to do kind of like all ages, mid-range lines of stories, for Marvel, for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They had kind of like, the stuff you would see in book fairs and everything, which, is cool. It certainly has its place in comics. I'm glad it exists.
It's very good stuff. The High Republic Adventures books were excellent. They just released this past week, which I'm reviewing, a Halloween themed
nice.
Darth Vader's like sort of Tales from the Crypt sort of book.
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
That's it. They did like a bunch of Miles stuff there. I know there was like a point where it's like, if you want to read more Miles adventures, you can read it over there. Well, you're not going to be able to do that much longer because the whole entire IDW action line, which is what it's called, is basically dealt a killing blow this week because they lost the Star Wars and Marvel licenses.
Yeah. Now that's not to say these books will be ending. They could just fall under the Marvel banner.
That pretty
Which
much
is probably what they'll be doing with the High Republic stuff, because that stuff's so successful.
Yes, and they've gone all in on it. So yeah, Marvel basically are like, hey, we're taking our toys and going home. Which again is like, I can't blame them, because it's like, yeah, you're a comic company. Why are you outsourcing some of your biggest projects to another company?
Confused me why it's like, well, why are IDW doing these books? Like, yeah, you're a comic book company. Like, why are you sending these out to other people?
What are they doing that you're not getting yourself? Now, obviously, some of these were meant for different audiences because they were for younger audiences, and maybe IDW is better to tap into that. Again, I can't speak with any level of authority, so that's bad. That's a pretty big knock against them. But it's like, hey, you know what? IDW made it all this time without Marvel and Star Wars in their career. Surely this won't be the end of them. They might also have lost the Ghostbusters license too.
Yeah.
Apparently a bunch, they have not officially said this one way or another, but a bunch of the Ghostbusters stuff that's published under them disappeared from all digital outlets this week. Yeah, that's not good. That's bad. Also, I'm not plugged into the Sonic fan base, so if someone knows better than me, please tell me whether I'm right or wrong on this. I think either they lost the Sonic license too, or a bunch of the Sonic fans are really scared that they're going to be next seeing all of this.
Yeah, I could see why they would think that.
So there's a lot of freaking out going on there. It's like, is IDW losing all their licenses, the thing that they basically rely on to be a comic company?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, why? Why is this happening? And it's like, well, shouldn't it be obvious? It's, we are seeing it in the app race. We're seeing it everywhere else now, where companies are like, wait, why are we having someone else do this for us? Why don't we just do it and make all the money instead of having to profit share?
Well, the stuff with the Sonic is, I don't know whether they'll actually remove it or not. Just because, I know, Capcom and all that, when it comes to marketing their stuff, they're kind of terrible at it, because you'd think by now we'd have so many, they own Resident Evil and Street Fighter and all that. It's where are all those comic book series? They don't exist. They should exist. So
they really should.
Yeah, it would make sense for them to still work with IDW to bring those series to bear, but they don't want to.
They haven't, for whatever reason. So looks to be some dark days for IDW right now. And again, I can't quite, string theory the timeline of events here and everything, but it seems like, maybe they left Diamond because they're like, okay, we're going to have to, move in some new directions now. We're going to have to try and figure some stuff out. We can't rely on what we used to rely on.
Yeah, at worst, they'll probably just go back to making really good indie comics, which they still were doing during this, except all this stuff was paying the bills.
Street Fighter is Udon, apparently, says Jack Neves. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Is that who owns the marketing for it, though?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because I always thought it was under Capcom.
Yeah, this is companies and sub-companies.
Yeah, Capcom and
weird.
Sega and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but so yeah, there's that news, everyone. It's like, oh boy, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
Here's hoping that they can stay afloat, because I always enjoyed that IDW existed.
Yeah, they did some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, even if I wasn't reading their stuff all the time, I appreciate that they existed. As Fran in the chat says, so TMNT is holding IDW on its back, is what you're saying. Pretty much. Don't be shocked if we're going to get a bunch of new Turtles books now off the back of this.
Everything is Turtles now.
Everything is Turtles now. Tell you what, every one of the 4 Turtles gets a solo series now, and a Splinter book, and a Shredder book.
And a Bebo and Rocksteady book, and
yep.
A Casey Jones series, and an April O'Neil investigative journalism series. And
ooh, that sounds fun.
That would be pretty cool.
Venus de Milo, the female turtle you all hated from The Next Mutation, we're bringing her back, and she's also getting a series. Because at IDW, the Turtles pay the bills. Somewhere Eastman and Laird like, dude, we couldn't even hold up our whole career just with Turtles. Good luck with you guys, though. I apparently hear those Turtle books are great, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if you like Turtles, they're some of the best they've done.
DC did do Resident Evil comic not a decade ago, but like in the 90s. Jim Lee drew the covers for it.
Oh, shit. Was it any good?
I haven't read them in decades, so I can't really remember. I think they were just like adaptations of the games.
Right. That makes sense. Now, our final piece of industry news here is the bit that everyone has been losing their mind about. Feels like everyone on social media had a take about this one, and that is, of course, the Ditko family estate is set to sue Marvel and Disney over rights to Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of acted like the sky was falling on this one. I didn't, because I'm old enough to have seen this stuff time and time again. It's like, what's going to happen here is what always happens in this situation. Disney's going to pay them a bunch of money to go away, and then sign a contract that agrees to a slightly better profit share.
And not only that, like say if they were to actually win, they get the rights back, nothing would change. The only thing that will change is who these companies license the characters from.
It's not nearly as big a deal as everyone is making it out to be. And
everyone is saying, "Oh, it's the end of Marvel Studios," and it's no.
Showing that your average Twitter person knows very little about freaking intellectual property rights and licensing rights and everything else.
Yeah,
they know about as much about that as they know about vaccine mandates. Oh, topical humor. Ha ha ha. I am a funny man. I can write for The Daily Show. Ha ha ha. But yeah, that's all it is. This happens all the time. And again, it's the estate. Apparently, it's Ditko's brother, who no one's ever heard of, is the one leading the charge on this one.
That's the thing. It's like I see so many people saying it's like, oh, so many people are like defending Disney and all that. It's like I'm not when I say this, but it's always turns out to be like the no-name brother who had nothing to do with any of his family coming back years later and wanting to cash in on their relatives' fortune and fame. Yeah.
And again, this is like another thing when it comes to the social media discourse where everyone ends up missing the forest for the trees. Yeah, Ditko totally should have been paid more for what he did.
Absolutely.
He totally got fucked over. As every comic creator is still getting fucked over today. How about instead of, getting all up in arms about this thing that's going to end the same way it always ends, how about you worry about protecting the new crop of comic writers for today and making sure that they get paid and get protection and don't, end up destitute at the end of their careers. There's a reason so many of your favorite writers are leaving for Substack. Because they're getting paid a lot of money right out of the gate and are promised more protection and more, control over what they create in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing, where it's like, again, you're all missing the forest for the trees on this one. Jace Jensen, again, helping us out. The mouse will throw all the money around so they can keep the toys in the toy box. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. Again, this story was big for a minute. It's how it's going to end the way it always ends.
Yeah, these always end up happening every now and then. And it's always ends up the same, which is they pay them. They can still get to use the creations. And again, even if it worked the other way and they somehow won, the Ditko family somehow won, they would still be able to use the characters. They would just be paying someone different for the licenses.
It's not nearly as big a story as the internet made it out to be.
No.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But if nothing else, takeaway that, yeah, creators in the comic industry do get fucked over. It's why, you should try and support their other works as best you can.
Yeah, they're independent stuff where they actually
Yeah.
own all the characters.
Where they actually own all their stuff now. So that's the thing. So there you go. I guess with that, we can hop over into what we read this week.
Yeah.
Which I had a smaller week this week, and I was thankful for it for once.
I had a little bit of a smaller week. I still had some carryover from last week.
Yeah, there was a couple new books that came out this week where I'm just kind of like, nah, I'm going to keep my list nice and small on this one. There was a couple new ones that I could, roll the dice on. Ironically, one of them was the death of Doctor Strange, and I'm like, huh, is that why they're killing him off so soon before there's like a new movie or something? So they like don't have to write about him while they're like, in a legal battle?
Yeah, well, no, this one was coming out. This one was in the cook for a little bit, I think.
It was. It's just kind of funny how that lines up, yeah?
Yeah.
But yeah, so where do we want to start this week with new books?
What do we even have this week?
Fear State?
Oh, yeah, Fear State Part 2 that reiterated what Part 1 did again.
Part 3, technically.
yeah, technically.
Technically part 3. Yeah, wow. Fear State, the event that refuses to get started.
Just get on with it. We know what's happening. All the characters know what's happening. You don't need to go looking through into Batman's brain to figure out what's happening. We know what's happening.
It's literally characters sit around and say the same thing. It's actually kind of amazing.
It is, yeah. It's I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Did you know the Fear State is Jonathan Crane's plan to evolve humanity by pushing them to the absolute limit? No, I didn't know that. Well, let me tell you again.
Yeah, he learned about it when he was studying in university. It's like, yes,
in grad school. Yeah,
we learned all this stuff 2 issues ago.
Yeah. I, Ghostmaker, have a dark secret to reveal. I met Jonathan Crane in grad school, and he told me the story of the Fear State. Oh, does that change anything? Not at all.
Yeah, why didn't you tell us this earlier?
Because it literally meant nothing and still means nothing now. Also, too, I'm reminded what Tynan said in an interview. He's like, why did I create so many new characters for my run? Because I was sick of all the mandates I kept getting. So literally, the first half of this story is Batman reiterating what's going on. He puts on his VR headset, and then literally Ghostmaker takes over for the whole middle part of the story. And I'm just like, yeah, this is where we're at now. You and I theorized on Twitter when we talked about this that this was A, probably never meant to be an event, and B, probably much shorter.
It feels like it was probably meant to be like maybe a 3 or 4 part arc that was just like Scarecrow versus Batman. And then they're like, no, we're gonna make this an event. And it's like, well, it's kind of basically just turning into like Joker War again.
It is.
But with no Joker and just Scarecrow. And that's where we're at.
I wonder whose idea this was. Was this Tynan being like, well, leaving for Substack, but I still got to get to issue 75. Let's stretch this story out as far as I can. Or was this DC editorial being like, oh, you're leaving, huh? Well, we want to get one last Batman event out of you before we go, so Fear State is an event now.
Yeah, it feels like a bit like both. Like somewhere in between there.
So yeah, that's basically all that happens. They go inside Batman's mind. They fix him of whatever Crane did to him. Like, oh, so that only lasted 1 issue. Nice to know that that's not going to continue to be a thing moving forward. Which I was kind of disappointed because I thought that they were going to do the idea we came up with, and that is that, oh, to purge this from Batman's mind, he has to go into like the dream machine or whatever.
He was like teed up for that.
Sure was. Maybe that was supposed to be the plan, but then they took it away from it. It's like, no, you can't actually
They chickened out because it was going to be basically a reset of Batman where he basically forgets everything. And it was going to be basically a new character.
Which is funny because they're going to be restarting Batman anyway at the end of this. And they're like, no, we restart Batman the way we want to restart him.
Yeah.
You don't get to restart him on the way out. Also, whatever they did to Batman, which is still vague and unexplained, they did to Peacekeeper 1, too, so they need to get to him before he becomes the focal point of the fears.
Yeah, and he's confronted by Peacekeeper X.
Yeah.
They're going to fight probably in that Secret Files Peacekeeper 1 book that comes out next week, I think.
Oh, is that a thing? I know Miracle Molly got a Peacekeeper 1, or got a special one-off issue too, and I'm like, look, Miracle Molly's fine, but I don't care enough about her or this story to read a special one-shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that book, everyone. The fact that I talked this long about it is amazing. How long was my video for this? 6 minutes, and I was pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did you have this week, Matt, that you want to talk about?
What did I have? I reviewed that new Aquaman book, The Becoming issue
Oh,
1.
yes, by Brandon Thomas. How was it? This is another one that I almost picked up because I like Calder and I like Thomas, but I'm like, no, I can't pick up anything new until I finish what's already on my plate.
Yeah, it's an interesting beginning to this arc. Obviously, given the name, seeks to imply that maybe we're going to get like a mantle change sort of thing between Arthur and Jackson. And yeah, this issue just sort of sets that up, where Arthur leaves for Mars to go on a team up with Frankenstein.
Cool.
So he leaves like everything in the hands of Jackson just to sort of deal with for a little bit while he's off Earth. Jackson thinks, it's all cool, it's I'm Aqualad, I've got all this, and he ends up thwarting a bank heist from like a stupid villain called the Human Flying Fish. Who is just as stupid as he sounds, and just does like usual Titans business and stuff. But then he's confronted by a villain who puts forth a claim that like he's kind of like living a life of privilege. He's always getting what he wants, and has everything he wants and everything, and he doesn't know real hardship. And this villain seeks to want to like test him, and the book ends with the villain blowing up part of Atlantis and framing Jackson for it.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not.
Now we're getting this book, and we're getting a Black Manta miniseries too, and a lot of people are thinking that there's got to be some crossover between these two, because why would you do both of those at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like something that'll probably read good in trade when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, it's only 6 issues.
Yeah, there you go. Good for Calder. Good for Jackson. Glad he got there. It's funny, I keep calling him Calder because it's like, well, yeah, I first saw him in Young Justice before I ever read Brightest Day. So that's just like, this is how I fucking know him. In fact, I don't think they've ever called him Jackson in the show. I think they always just call him Calder.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, huh. What else did I have this week? Ooh, I had Moon Knight #3.
Ooh, what's happening in Moon Knight?
Oh, we're mooning up. This story is actually moving shockingly quick because, in issue 1 we were introduced to the Fist of Khonshu, who is Moon Knight's like opposite.
Yep.
That guy just starts like beating up all of Moon Knight's new friends that he's made in the first 2 issues, the vampires and everyone he's been trying to help, and he threw Crescent Moon shit at them. So his vampire secretary's like, what the fuck, man? Why did you save us if you were just gonna throw moon shit at us? And he's like, whoa, that's not me. Wait, you mean there's another guy dressed up like Moon Knight running around causing trouble? Well, shit, I better go out there then and solve this. And his code name is the Hunter's Moon. And his costume is cool because it's got more gold than black. And also, instead of a crescent moon, it's a full moon, because a full moon is a Hunter's Moon.
Yeah.
And what's great about the fight is that Mark Spector's like, dude, I know you're Dr. Badir. You like introduced yourself to me in issue 1 and literally said, yo, I'm a bad guy and gonna make trouble for you.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing? I know it's you, but wait. He didn't do the old people plot from issue 2, which means that there's actually someone else here setting all the Moon Knights against each other.
Okay.
And apparently, as we find out from Hunter's Moon, Moon Knight is like an anime character, only ever been using a fraction of his power.
Only 0.5%.
Apparently, when you become a Moon Knight, you're supposed to be like endowed with all the knowledge and experiences of the Moon Knights who have come before you, like Black Panther.
Yep.
But because Mark Spector's head is so fucked up and fractured due to mental illness and everything, he never got that.
Okay.
So literally, he's not as strong as he should be. And Hunter's Moon's like, well, I'm going to kill your friends then, and show you that Khonshu was right, and I'll get you back on the path. So Moon Knight just picks up a baseball bat and beats the shit out of him.
That sounds like something Moon Knight would do.
It's amazing. And he's like, yeah, dude, you may have all these great experiences walking around in your head, but you're still just a doctor. You're like a dancer wearing stolen shoes. I've lived this life and, bled and fought for it every step of the way. I'm still better than you, even without all the other Khonshu bullshit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that, where it's like, oh, I'm the Hunter's Moon. I'm the big, scary new guy baseball bat. Yep. So that's pretty fun. And he's like, I could kill you, and the old Moon Knight probably would have killed you and ate your face, but, like, I'm trying to be better now, and I'm trying to, like, lead by example for the vampires and all the other weirdos I'm taking care of.
That's cool.
It is. He's coming full circle. I'm like, oh, see, he was a darker, grittier hero who's learning to be a nicer hero.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It's good. It's good. Moon Knight continues to be a lot of fun. Not doing great numbers on the channel. I know issue 1 did great, and they're doing slightly less every time.
It'll pick up once the show gets sort of
Probably.
like more traction.
That feels like Moon Knight in a nutshell, where everyone's like, yeah, Moon Knight, new book, so excited. Issue 2, issue 3, I've had enough Moon Knight. But I'm happy it exists. What else did you have, Matt?
I had Nightwing issue 84. Yeah.
I did. I had this one as well, and boy, is this issue a masterclass in how an event can fuck up the momentum of a story you're telling, isn't
it? I do like that Tom Taylor actually mentions that in the book, where it's like, I really shouldn't be abandoning this amazing story where we're doing in Bloodhaven, but I kind of got to, because Dick Grayson's a son of Gotham, and he needs to help his family.
I did like that, where it's like, I'm a son of two places. Bloodhaven is my home, but Gotham is my home too.
Yeah, and he's drawn to Gotham after getting a message from Oracle, who he thinks is Oracle, to meet him in Crime Alley, and he goes there and he learns that it's a trap set by the Magistrate to try and capture him, and Batman ends up finding him and teaming up with him and stopping the Magistrate, and yeah, they end up sort of filling Dick in on what's going on there, because he has no idea. So
once again, we need to tell you what Fear State's about.
Once again, for a fourth issue in a row, we're told what Fear State is. And
sure is.
He's sent off to be with Barbara, because they've been together for the Nightwing book, to sort of find out who this fake Oracle is, and to do so, Barbara has to suit up as Batgirl again, just because she can't do anything with her computers there. She's locked out of her system, so she's got to suit up and go out and look for the actual source.
Which a certain type of fan on Twitter got very upset about Tom Taylor about, for some reason I do not understand.
Just stupid outrage shit, just getting upset with anything.
They were mad about something else and decided to just blame Taylor for that.
Yeah, they were calling him an ableist and all this bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, it makes perfect sense.
It's explained in the issue. Read the book.
Yeah, someone corrupt and took over the Oracle program, something that Barbara has spent her whole life creating and perfecting. And now she's ready to get back out in the streets and kick that thing's ass and take her thing back.
Yeah, she can't do anything from behind a computer that is locked.
Yeah. And also, I mean, like, she does it knowing full well that her spine isn't 100%, and every time she goes back into the field, she could risk, hurting herself.
Yeah, but she's doing it because of family.
Yeah, because, it's a family matter. It's about saving the city. It's about all this other stuff. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me, but that's what I am in. Oh, she's got a new costume too.
Yeah, it's kind of new, but yeah, it's just slightly redesigned.
It's an updating of the Burnside suit with a little bit more of her classic suit with the wide eyes. It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks good, and they're probably going to keep more of that going on in the Batgirl's book. I think it was in Joker we actually saw that she had the suit in a case.
Yeah.
So they've been building up to it for a while. So, that was Nightwing. It's all right. Again, I'm surprised because Fear State is so thin already. I'm like, well, what the fuck are they going to start handing out for the tie-ins? It's like, okay, you deal with Fake Oracle. I'm like, well, Fake Oracle seemed to be like one of the only big things that was going on in the main book.
Yeah, you've got like that, and like, I guess like the Harley Quinn book is dealing with like the Ivy stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and again, like stuff that isn't really connected to to Fear
Fear
State. It was
State
just
at all.
stuff that like James Tynan had
Happened
like
along the way.
seeds planted like since his run begun.
And it makes me think, like, was all of this supposed to be handled in the main book? Is that why this is so thin? Where it's like, no, you got to cut up your story for tie-ins.
It feels like it.
Gotta...
You know what it was? You know what it was? It was meant to be, the 4 issues, and like that Ivy story and this Oracle story were meant to be the backups in those issues.
Maybe. Also, what the fuck is Detective Comics going to do now? Because I think Detective Comics is a tie-in too.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that as well, because like they go back to Bruce's house in this week's issue of Batman, and I'm like,
hey, wasn't that destroyed?
Yeah, that like Penguin blew that up.
Burnt that down. Someone wasn't paying attention. I do like, though, that even though Tynan is gone, they are also still setting up Task Force Z, which he co-wrote.
Yeah.
They're like, some people, they're so, gacked up on Scarecrow's juice. They're seeing, zombies rising from the grave around side Arkham. And I'm like, oh, no, that's a reference to another story. Jace Jensen, the Nightwing issue was just Dick and Bruce breaking into people's houses. Dick just yelling, he'll pay for the damages because he's rich now. That was pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and he will pay for it as well.
Yeah, I'll pay for this. I'm sorry. But you never see Batman and Nightwing do, where it's like, we stick to the rooftops. Well, we could break into people's houses if we wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, Fear State, deeply underwhelming.
Yeah, it's not very good. Not what I thought it was going to be, especially after like the really great build up with A-Day and all that stuff.
Yeah, what's up with that? They built it up so well.
Yeah. And
then, like, the actual story is just, like, so lame and derivative once we get there. It's like you said, it's just Joker War again with a different coat of paint.
Yeah. And I'd be fine with that if they use that in the story where it's like, yeah, no, these things just keep happening. They're the same thing over and over again, just with a different coat of paint. But it's not being like that sort of, I guess, meta with it. It's taking it too seriously.
Also, Scarecrow's barely in the book, which is a shame because I thought this would be his big moment to like reinvent himself as a major Batman villain, but he's barely in the goddamn thing.
Which is
playing.
It is kind of funny because like his whole deal is he wants all the credit for it, and he's barely in the book.
He's playing second fiddle to the goddamn magistrate.
Yeah,
which by their very definition are a faceless, nameless, amorphous military organization.
Yeah.
The point is that you're not supposed to know anything about them because we're talking about policing in America. That also dried up too. It's like, hey, wasn't there like some pointed social commentary going on here? Oh, that's gone now.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Yeah, he's all hopped up on the Scarecrow juice. He's gacked hard on whoop chicken. But yeah, what else did you have, Matt? I only had a couple more.
I had the continuation of Jeremy Adams' Flash book in Flash 774.
I heard this was a very heartwarming issue this week.
Yeah, just like his whole run, his whole mandate for this run, I have to imagine was basically be just make Wally a character again.
Like it.
Kind of make up for like how they treated him in the last decade or so. And this run is about him teaming up with his daughter Ira when they go to sort of a father-daughter dance held at Terrifictech, which is where Wally is working now.
Oh, nice. Does that mean Mr. Terrific is a supporting character?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, he's his boss basically. He's got Wally working on like multiversal energy stuff that he's familiar with and all that. But yeah, they intend to go on to like this father-daughter dance and everything. But a villain named Dr. Nightmare decides to put a hamper on that when he uses his tech that can literally like steal people's dreams and corrupt them, and he ends up turning them into like monsters that like help him. He wants to break into Terrific Tech where he used to work, where they fired him after his pretty extremist views. He wants to break in there and break into their main vault, which is where they keep all their like dangerous kind of illegal technology that they don't want getting out.
Right.
And it's Ira and Wally are the only ones who are not affected by the sleep gas he pumps in through the city because of their powers.
Speedsters.
All it does is make them very tired, so they can't actually use their powers. It doesn't put them to sleep.
Uh, the chat saying, I'm surprised that Dr. Nightmare as a name was available. Yeah, seems like a pretty obvious villain
Yeah, I
name
know,
that would have
right?
existed before. Sounds
Yeah.
like some golden age shit there.
Yeah. And yeah, they end up fighting the villain not with their powers but with their dreams, because Irie gets the device and conjures up her dreams of like donut pandas and Voltron lions and all that stuff to like fight the villains.
The power of a
Dreams.
child's imagination,
Yeah,
bitch.
pretty much. And they end up fighting the villain, and that was like Irie's sort of like superhero training, because her dad promised that they would learn how to be heroes and everything. And I imagine Jai's going to get an issue in the future as well. But yeah, it was just really cool. And there's like at the end, throughout all his run, every issue has had a page devoted to this. we don't know what it is yet, but there's been this like spear weapon that's been traveling through the multiverse, and like the Lanterns have been trying to stop it, and like all these people have been trying to stop it, and we don't know what it is, and it finally crash lands in Central City at the end of this issue, and someone's gonna wield it. We don't know what it is yet, but I imagine that's what the next issue is gonna deal with.
Is it the Spear of Destiny?
No, it's not. Well, we had that story already.
I was gonna say, is this like more future state shit?
It doesn't look like the Spear of Destiny. I don't know. It's like a long like spear, and yeah, I don't know what it is. It could be related to future state. I don't know.
Did Savitar have a spear, or is that like his lightning bolt knife I'm thinking of? He had like a weird weapon.
Yeah, I don't think he was in the book recently, and he didn't have a spear.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Okay, because I'm thinking at one point he had a spear, but no, it wasn't a spear. It was like his weird-ass lightning bolt knife he was killing speedsters with.
Yeah.
And it's like a story from like 20 goddamn years ago. Yeah. I don't even know if people remember that.
Yeah, no, I remember that, and I remember they tried to do it in the Flash TV show with Cicada or whatever that villain's name was.
Yes, that's right, yeah, because that's what that was from.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, Cicada. Man, remember when Flash was actually pretty cool when they fought like a fucking serial killer for a season? That was pretty fun. It went goddamn nuts at the end when they're like, well, what about time travel and future show? It's like, you went nuts at the end. Yeah. So what else did I have this week? I had X-Men #3.
I had that one as well.
The Coming of the High Evolutionary.
Yeah, the mutants end up fighting the High Evolutionary and his daughter Luminous.
Yes, who is a freaking holdover from the Remender Uncanny Avengers run, which, oh my god, I have not thought about that in forever. But Duggan clearly did his homework, because Rogue's like, I fucking hate that bitch. They tortured me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was that. I'm amazed that story still exists in the back of my brain.
Yeah.
And she has all the powers of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. And I'm like, that's right.
Yep.
I'm shocked that neither of those characters showed up in that story, because we're actually dealing with that stuff in the trial of Magneto, not over here in this story. Also, I'm pretty sure, High Evolutionary repeats himself when he tries to, like, set off a sterilization bomb.
Yeah. Well, he first offers it as a gift. This could help with, like, those climate change things, but if you're bad, the coronavirus will be released and will sterilize all the men.
I do love what a pompous piece of shit he is, High Evolutionary, where it's like, X-Men, you've done such a great job. You claimed a whole planet. You defeated death and everything via cloning. It's totally something I would do.
Yeah.
And hey, here's my sterilization bomb. You want to help humanity, this will totally help them. If we stop any new humans from being born, that'll slow down pollution. They might not even burn to death in a couple thousand years. Not even 1,000, like going like 50 years. They won't all burn to death. And it's like, well, this is pretty nice of you, High Evolution. No, wait, no, it's not. Fuck you. So yeah, they have a big fight there. Sync shows how cool he is now, because he can copy all sorts of powers, not just mutant powers.
Yeah, and he does so in front of High Evolutionary. So High Evolutionary is like, I want that guy's jizz.
Yeah, give me all the sync jizz. Also, thank you, ChemDog. Evolutionary War. Yes, that was the story where he also tried to use a sterilization bomb.
Yep.
It's great, too, because High Evolutionary is like, I used to think Rogue was the best in her ability to copy powers by touch, but Sync, you're better now, by a little bit.
Yeah, he can do multiple at once.
Yes, exactly. And he doesn't have to touch him. He just has to be in their general vicinity.
Yeah, which is what he does with Luminous. But then Luminous finds out that her dad can like just turn off her powers whenever he wants.
Got an off switch. So the fight ends essentially because of family dysfunction. Oh shit, guess we better go home and have an argument about this. And I'm like, yeah, this is fine. B Black helping us out. Do you think Sync giving his blood will bite him in the ass? Oh, 100%,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
they make a reference to that in the issue, whereas like Sync's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I gave up my blood. Hope it doesn't come back." And Scott's like, it's okay. It definitely will come back to bite us in the ass, but it's okay."
That's a problem for the future X-Men. We're the current X-Men. I love how laissez-faire they are about that shit. It's like, no, it was definitely going to happen one way or another. So, just don't even get mad about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. And also, too, because, like, the fight wasn't really the important thing. The important thing was Jean basically having a psychic conversation with High Evolutionary so he could drop the dime on Cordyceps Jones and Game World and everyone who keeps sending evil space aliens to attack Earth every week.
Yeah, and it's with that they decide, we're going to break the team into two. One's going to sort of stay here on Earth and sort of protect them, and the other team is going to head over into Game World and punch a fungus man in the face.
Yeah, sounds about right. They also imply that Game World might actually be an evolution of Mojo World.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Or like, a version of it or something.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing to just throw in there. And they're like, hey, don't worry, we did the High Evolutionary, but we also got this story with Fei Long going on because he's trying to join Orchis, but he just doesn't want to join. He wants to be in the inner circle, and he's got a whole fleet of rockets to try and make it happen.
Yeah, he wants to be the CEO, basically. And he wants to Elon Musk it to Mars. And
gotta Elon Musk it up.
Yeah.
Gotta musk it up in here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, get that musk right
and not only that, we've got that story with Dr. Stasis and Ben Urich and him dropping a dime on the mutants' resurrection and kind of making it like public that the mutants are cheating death every time that, like, one of them dies. He's got like that folder on like the Orchis Forge attack when Cyclops died.
I like that a lot because that's like a trigger they had to pull for a long time now, and I'm shocked it took them this long to do it. And it also makes the X-Men book feel important in a way it kind of hasn't been in these first three issues, where it's like, yeah, they've fought aliens 3 issues in a row. I mean, that's cool, but it's like not nearly as high-minded or stimulating as like the last writer was.
Well, I don't think it was meant to be. I think a mandate was meant to make it a bit more superheroic, which is what exactly what they are.
100%. It's like, look, X-Men is a buffet now. Everyone can get the tastes and flavors that they want, but the main X-Men book should be appealing to the most amount of people. So don't make it as 100% Krakoa focused.
Yeah.
Is what it seems to be. I do love that Urich is involved. Urich has always been one of my favorite, non-powered side Marvel characters, and I think it's great that he didn't trust Krakoa at first, then they won him over. And now, like, his loyalty is going to be tested because as a journalist, he has to tell the truth, even though he knows that this is going to, like, be really bad for them and for the world, probably.
Oh, yeah. Or I imagine now that, like, if the world knows that they have the power to, like, bring people back from the dead, the world are going to be like, what the fuck? Why didn't you, like, give us this technology and only give us, like, a super drug? It's like, why are you holding out on us? Yeah.
Callie Frederick helping us out. You think we may get a Nova Peter Gamora relationship? In what book? Probably not in X-Men. In Guardians, maybe.
Yeah, well, Guardians is finished up now.
I guess
until
it's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Which it's definitely fucking coming back, is what it is.
They're
taking a break now.
They're taking a break until the movie comes back.
Which is how things work now. And Jace Jensen, who's, again, been a real MVP this episode, the X-Men are just mutant Power Rangers with Monsters of the Week, and I'm enjoying it. It's 100% Power Rangers. It's evil space aliens.
They had in that second issue, they made their own Megazord.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, this issue they fought, Tesla elephants.
I love Tesla. And Bison.
Yeah.
Which that's great too. It's like, look, we're taking High Evolutionary just, seriously enough. We know he's got a lot of ridiculous henchmen. And you're gonna get to see all the ridiculous henchmen. But yeah, that was X-Men. It's definitely filling a void that the X-Men books have had for a bit. It's the superhero book. It's the more, acceptable consumption book for everyone else, but they're definitely promising more interesting things.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing like all this stuff, like the Ben Urich story, like once that becomes like sort of the main story in the book. This has just been back up for now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into more of that, just because it leads back into like all like that kind of like shady shit that Krakoa's been doing. That stuff's really interesting.
Yeah, how can we trust you when we know you're basically immortal? You know, what does anything matter for you anymore?
Yeah.
And in fact, we'll cover that when we talk about Onslaught Revelation, because that's another X-Men book from this week that tackles that.
I haven't read that one yet. I keep meaning to get to it.
I just finished it, but don't worry, because the next one we'll talk about is Batman the Detective, the penultimate issue.
Yeah, where we finally learn about goddamn Equilibrium, something that should have happened probably 2 issues ago.
And it's literally everything we predicted, like to a staggering degree.
Yeah, she's mirror copy of Batman, a dark copy. The only real like kind of I guess creative thing in it is that like Batman is now being used as sort of the gunman in the alley sort of role. That's really the only difference.
Yes, we discover, you know, she was trained by Ducard, which obviously we knew that because he said, "Oh, you're the second greatest person I've ever trained." Let me guess, Equilibrium is the first one. Yeah, it is. Oh, I loved her like a daughter, you know, but unlike you, Bruce, she wasn't afraid to kill.
Yeah, she gave up the life because she found a family, and that family was killed because of Batman's unknowing intervention in saving this one guy.
And you know, and again, like I feel like Taylor thought he was being clever there, because it's like, oh yeah, Batman that night in London before the bombing, he saves a weapons smuggler and an accountant who was doing nothing, but it was actually the accountant that drove drunk and ended up killing that family. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, like crime and death is random and everything. I guess it couldn't have been like a gun from the gun runner, because if so, that's like way too on the nose for Batman. Even though I think that's much more interesting, like that would kick Batman in the balls that much harder. Like, oh no, my family was killed by gun violence. Oh no, why did I let that gun guy live? Fuck.
Yeah. I kind of thought it was gonna be like that, but yeah, it was kind of just a bit random, where it's like, well, Batman's really not to blame in any of this. Like, there's no way he could fucking know that would happen, you know?
Yeah, and like, again, it's like you can only take it so far, where it's like, yeah, but, you know, Equilibrium is crazy, and she's always been in control, and she needed someone to blame, and she blamed Batman. I'm like, okay, that works for her. How did she get, like, an army of 100 people to follow her and dress up? Did she tell them all that story?
Yeah, again, like, if this was told, like, 2 issues ago, you could probably explore that, but... in this final issue, I don't think we're going to get any of that, just because it's building up to this whole like, she found out that Batman saved London from that nuke, so she's going to go try and nuke all of London, because Batman technically saved the entire city, you know?
Yeah. That seems a little
and also
extreme.
That also kind of brings up other questions, where it's like, okay, so like she's going after like people Batman have saved. Batman's been involved in many events over the years, so like,
it's true. Why aren't you blowing up the whole world?
Why aren't you trying to blow up the whole world, the whole universe, the whole multiverse? You know, you're thinking very small.
Very. And again, I get it. She's a villain. She's supposed to be crazy. She's supposed to be unreasonable and blaming people for the randomness of the universe and everything. But it just feels trite and cliche, like we've seen this story. But the most annoying part for me is like, this is called Batman the Detective. So I assumed we were going to get a really good detective mystery.
Stuff, yeah.
But this is like the most predictable story ever.
Remember, this book did get a rename. It was meant to be Dark Knight or something, Batman the Dark Knight or something, but it got renamed because there was like a digital book with the same name or something.
Right.
I can't remember. Yeah. But
they should have just called it Batman Equilibrium.
Nothing to do with detective or anything. Whereas, you think the book is called The Detective. Okay, Batman's going to be a detective for once, you know?
That's another thing that bothers me too. It's like, is her name Equilibrium, or is the organization called Equilibrium, or are they both called Equilibrium?
Yeah.
this is just a perfect example of like, oh, I guess even someone like Tom Taylor can't bat 100, or I can't bat 1,000 every week.
Well, it kind of feels like maybe this was something he had to do to get like that Dark Knights of Steel book, or
maybe
like was one other project off. It's like, hey, you can do this, but you got to do a Batman book first, and he's like, yeah, whatever.
Give us one regular Batman.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is just like an idea that needed like another couple months to like really baked.
Yeah.
It feels half baked is what it feels like.
It feels like it should have been it's going to be 6 issues, should have been 12
or something like this. See, I don't even know if making this longer would have made this more interesting, if this is where we were
could have at
ultimately
least
going to
like
go
fleshed
with it.
out the characters a little bit more, and
maybe
Batman could have actually done some detective work, because it's like it teased him up for like all that sort of stuff, because you get like the European alliance of the Bat, and
which
like
end up doing nothing.
Yeah, all this like really interesting stuff that like I think if you had a couple more issues, you could explore a little bit more and open up a little bit more. But it's not really anything.
Yeah, I also really thought Knight and Squire were going to be way more involved in this.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have some hooks in this story. Turned out, no, they didn't. Turns out they are literally just tag-alongs.
Yeah. Well, Squire more so than Knight. Knight's like barely in it. Like she's just in hospital.
Which I was scared there for a second, like, oh no, is Knight going to be the bad guy? Is that going to be the twist? Because it's like, you had a female character here, so she would be the female villain. I guess she just ended up kind of being a red herring in that regard.
Yeah.
And especially
or it's like Ducard going to be behind it all or something.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, God, they brought Ducard back. They've killed him. They brought him back in dreams. What a weird character with such a weird history. They'll trot him out every so often. But yeah, not a fan of this one. Here's hoping, maybe the next issue can stick the landing, maybe add an interesting new wrinkle, but I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Wah wah. So yeah, was that everything I had this week? No, the last one I had was X-Men Onslaught Revelations, and I'll be quick with this because you haven't read it.
Yeah, tell me what happens in that.
This is the finale to Way of X.
Yeah. I thought that, because like I think people just assumed that like Way of X got renamed to this.
Yeah, I don't know why they did the name change. Was Way of X not selling well, but they wanted to get this last issue? I don't know why the change had to happen, because it's just the finale.
Yeah, okay.
It's literally all it is. It's, Onslaught. He's gotten into the minds of the people on the island. He's forcing them to have a big sinful party, and then they're all going to kill each other. And once they do, he can finally live again in the material realm.
Mm-hmm.
He's also gotten to Xavier's head, and he's making him delete all the Cerebro backups.
Oh, no.
Yeah, meaning that when they die, they actually stay dead. Which I'm like, holy shit, that's actually pretty scary. And the only people who are immune to it is Nightcrawler and Legion, and basically his weird team of characters that he's been collecting all series long.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they're able to get away from Onslaught because they're at the Altar, a weird astral plane of projection that Legion has created in his own mind that they can literally teleport to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it becomes their church, essentially. This is our house of worship now. We're just going to walk into Legion's mind. Because it's a place where all minds are one, and where Nightcrawler basically finally gets Fabian Cortez and Lost, forgive each other, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I still think that's kind of fucked up that Lost needed to forgive Fabian, because it's like, Lost did nothing wrong. But again, it's like, take a walk in someone else's shoes. Fabian gives this whole speech about, like why he hates himself and why he's a bastard and everything. Like, I'm so lame and so uncreative. My mutant name is Fabian Cortez. I didn't even pick a cool name. Because I can only make people more powerful. So, I only live in the shadows of people, even someone like Magneto, despite the fact that I never believed what he was selling. I just wanted to be cool, basically. Is all it breaks down to. And Lost is like, okay, so, I don't want to kill you anymore, and I'll never forgive you, but I at least understand you. And Nightcrawler's like, yep, good enough. That apparently did the trick, and that summons the spark, which is now the basis for the mutant religion. And we get like a whole little appendix page talking about like what the spark is and what it means.
Okay.
It makes more sense to read it, though I think this issue had a real problem with telling, not showing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
B Black, I thought Onslaught Liberation was a great some answer Nightcrawler was searching for to deal with immortality, self-sacrifice, and a way of life instead of religion. That's definitely true. The book has that. I'm not trying to be too hard on it. It does ultimately stick the landing in ways that count.
Is this just like a one shot, or is it gonna continue as Onslaught Revelations?
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, because I only remember seeing this, and this is like when this was announced, everyone just assumed, oh, this is just like the final part of Way of X, and then that's it. It's not going to be anything else.
It's done. Yeah, I mean, they definitely promised that they could keep doing it because, like, the big thing is like, oh, Onslaught only got onto the island because Orchis, planted a piece of him inside Lost. And, he's been living off her hate and anger, and now that she's given, up on her hate and anger, they can finally, defeat him with the power of love and friends we made along the way. Okay, B Black saying it's just a one shot. Yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, they beat him and they save the island, and everyone on Nightcrawler's team kind of gets their moment, and they have a church now, and they're like, oh well, we need a name for our practitioners. Are we going to be priests? Are we going to be Jedis? What are we going to be? And Nightcrawler eventually decides, I have a name for us. We'll be called Legionaries.
Oh, nice.
After Legion himself, I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool, actually. So it's pretty good. I don't know if it's like quite as affecting as the earlier issues that did like amazing one and dones that were like complex and adult and gave you a lot to chew on. But it is a nice Nightcrawler story. He does end up coming full circle in a big way, and it's certainly, I think taken as a whole, it's like stronger than that.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I think you'll have a good time with it. Even if I think there is a point there where, like, Nightcrawler literally sits you down and gives you a fucking Sunday school parable where I'm like, okay, you didn't need to do this in the first couple issues.
Yeah, okay.
B Black back again, helping us out. Thank you so much. Now that we know mutants are brainwashed pod people, do you think they'll be returning to the status quo, stop resurrecting as Onslaught related to Scarlet Witch's death? Will the island change? Yeah, that's an excellent question, B Black, because, yeah, basically this story does kind of come down on the fact that endless resurrection is bad and that, like, it kills the soul and everything, and, like, to keep doing it is wrong. And I'm like, so Nightcrawler came to this realization, but they're going to keep doing it in other books, though.
Oh, well, I think it's probably going to lead to some sort of, and I know this word will trigger some people, I think it's going to lead to some sort of schism. Whereas, like, you've got Nightcrawlers, like the people who believe in Nightcrawler stuff, who don't want resurrection or anything, and then you just got, like, just random, like, mutants who are like, yeah, resurrection's cool, I can fucking go get killed and just come back, and no consequences or anything.
Well, Matt, I think you actually pitched a really good next arc for this, because it's like, yeah, okay, you fought so long to get a religion, to get, like, a way of life for your people to gather around as a community. Cool. Here's an interesting thing about religions, though. They often lead to holy wars and, like you said, schisms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like it's building up to that, where it's like you've got these two factions. One, that it's that whole sort of that separation of church and state sort of thing. Yeah. And it's like both sides, and it's like, no, they're going to start warring just because that's how it always is and how it always ends. No matter, even if the mutants say they're better than humans, it's going to end like that.
Because, how long is it going to be before someone says, hey, Nightcrawler, you're like the Jesus and Pope of this new religion.
Yep.
Why do you get to be on the ruling governmental council?
Yeah. Yep.
Seems like you hold a scary amount of power in that regard, huh?
Yep.
Won't that be bad? Also, too, there's like a whole thing when they talk about the spark, like, oh, the spark is love and kindness and courageousness and everything. But then, like, the final little fine print there is like, and the spark will also burn away anyone who dares challenge mutant rights. I'm like, there we go.
Yeah, that is. You got to read them terms and conditions.
Every religion has one of those, the little fine print. Hey, we're all about love and brotherhood and turning the other cheek, but don't fuck with us, bro. Is always there. In the little fine print, but is good. I like it. I think it's strong. I think this is gonna actually go down as probably one of the best of this Reign of X era. I think people are gonna go back and be like, man, that reads really good together.
Yeah, definitely.
So there you go. What else did you have? Because that was my last one.
I had 3 books, but 2 I can actually talk about together. But the first one I want to
Good.
talk about is The Death of Doctor Strange.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. He dying?
Yes, but no.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, no. So this issue, like, kind of gets the death out of the way pretty quickly in that he
Oh,
dies
really?
in this issue. But for the first half of the issue, it's just all about like exploring and kind of reiterating Doctor Strange's role as a Sorcerer Supreme. It's not just like he's not just a hero. He's like literally protecting the Earth realm, and like him being alive protects the Earth realm. It goes back to that whole thing where it's like the Earth's got like a shield over it, and
Right,
it
right.
stops like other dimensions invading it, but stuff still gets through, like the War of the Realms and all that sort of stuff. And if there is no Sorcerer Supreme, that shield falls and anything can come in and invade. Steven ends up also like he's splitting his time between being the Sorcerer Supreme and saving people.
Right.
A surgeon who saves people because he's got his hands back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That did happen.
As well as a teacher at Strange Academy.
Oh, yeah, that's also a thing. Man,
Yeah.
it feels like they just threw everything at Doctor Strange
Yeah.
for a couple of years. Like, one of these has to stick.
Yeah, where he's teaching Doyle, Dormammu's son, which gets a great like tie-in with Annihilation, the Annihilation War stuff that's happening. He's like, I can't feel what my dad's doing at the moment. It's weird because usually I should be able to keep an eye on him, and it's like, maybe
Oh,
something's
that's fun.
happening, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he goes through all this sort of stuff, and he keeps doing what he's doing, but then someone comes to see him at his home, and it's someone that he seems to recognize, and that someone attacks him and stabs him and kills him. And Wong and Zelma and Brother Voodoo are the ones who find him and find that he's dead, but everyone knows he's dead because the minute he dies, the shield around the Earth falls, and like all these dimensions start invading, and the Avengers are like scrambling to sort of deal with all this sort of stuff. And Baron Mordo comes, and he's angry because someone beat him to the punch and killed Doctor Strange before he could. And it's here we learn that Doctor Strange actually had a contingency for his death, and that is he ends up bringing a younger version of himself from the past to the future, to the present, who was trapped in some realm. I'm just going to call it the Steve Ditko realm because it looks like the Steve Ditko realm.
I was gonna say, what does he look like? Does he look even more like Benedict Cumberbatch now?
Or he's younger, and he looks his costume is like his original one, where it's like blue and like the yellow orange gloves with like the Kirby like dots on them and everything. And he says zounds. He says zounds. So it's his catchphrase.
Everything old is new again.
Yeah, so he comes back, and so technically Doctor Strange did die, but he's still alive because there's technically a younger version of him now.
All right, I see that.
Yeah. But what really made me tired is like at the end of this book, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I can't wait to read these 5 issues. And then at the end of the book, you get a checklist, and it's like the 5 issues, and then there's like Avengers tie-ins and Strange Academy tie-ins and X-Men tie-ins, and I'm like, really? Oh my god, just stop. This is also tiresome. I understand why, because it's like Doctor Strange, he's pretty important, but like
gonna be in a movie soon too, so we got to go all out on
some
him.
Of these could have been, compressed down into one issue.
I'm trying to think, what was the last like death of story I really enjoyed? It was probably the death of Wolverine, because it was all contained to one book.
Yep.
It's only after he died did they spin it off and do like 100 other things.
Search for Wolverine and all these books that went nowhere.
Remember, there was another X book there where it was like a whole team of Weapon X people, and one guy looked like Wolverine, Mr. Sharp, but he wasn't.
Yep.
What the fuck ever happened to Mr. Sharp? I don't care what happened to Mr. Sharp. That's just
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't fucking care. But like that was a big thing where it's like, oh, is this Wolverine? Why doesn't he remember stuff? No, he's just a guy who looks like him.
Yeah.
Easy as that. What else did you have, May? You said you had 2 books that kind of go together.
These were the last 2 bits of the Last Annihilation. They had a Wakanda special, which saw Wakanda get involved in the battle in space with the Shi'ar and the Skrulls and the Kree and all that. But T'Challa can't obviously go and deal with it himself because he's got like duties on Earth as king and an Avenger, and they mention stuff about his upcoming book. So he can't go. So he ends up sending M'Baku in his place. Who's kind of joined him back after like all the stuff that happened in Ta-Nehisi Coates' book, where he was like part of like the Wakandan Empire and
in space.
Like, all this stuff. So he ends up going into space with Shuri to help fight with the Shi'ar, who the Shi'ar don't particularly like Wakandans, because the Wakandan Empire, which is different from the one on Earth, the spacefaring guys, ended up like attacking the Shi'ar at one point and like Deathbird's people and almost like committing mass genocide against them. So they don't particularly like Wakandans. So
Yikes.
M'Baku's got to kind of like deal with that while also dealing with mindless ones who are taking over Air's moon and turning it into a mindless one to attack Air and destroy the planet. He ends up coming up with an idea that is used like an illegal weapon that was used to commit genocide against the Shi'ar to save the Shi'ar, and it's like this,
a lot of space genocide.
Yeah, it's like this vibranium like satellite array that they're gonna modify, that instead of like it was meant to shake planets apart with vibrations, they're going to use it to like capture the energy that the mindless ones are using and fire it back at them. And,
clever.
And yeah, it's just about them sort of getting together, and at the end of the book, it's revealed that this was kind of a test from M'Baku on T'Challa's part, and T'Challa ends up making him the regent of Wakanda, which is like, he's the one who's got to sort of bring all these different factions of Wakanda, because Wakanda's got like the Earth faction and the Space faction and then all these other factions. He's got to kind of bring them all together, and M'Baku's the one who can do it because he don't take no shit.
Do you think that means anything too? The fact that Manape's getting a bit of a push right now.
Probably.
I know we still don't know who's going to be, succeeding Black Panther in the movies, but everyone sure does like, what is it? Dukes is his name in real
Winston
life?
Duke, yeah.
Yeah, everyone really likes Winston Dukes. If Winston Dukes became Black Panther, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I wouldn't either. I'd like him to actually just continue being the Man-Ape, but like with the Black Panther powers and everything. He's got a real cool costume there. It's like his Man-Ape costume, but because it's space, it's like got like a space visor on it, and he's got like the jaw of like a gorilla. And so it looks pretty cool.
Cool. B Black saying, seriously, everyone's been sleeping on the intergalactic Wakandan Empire saga. I know, you told me to check it out and read it, and I feel like I kind of have to now that it's all said and done.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of people saying it's what is it, Ta-Nehisi Coates' big magnum opus.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Right on.
And the last issue was Guardians of the Galaxy issue 18, the final issue in the series,
big final one,
and the final issue of Last Annihilation. And it was pretty fucking insane. So Doctor Doom knows how to finally defeat Dormammu, and he's got to use it like a pentagram to try and take away Dormammu's power. And he's got like a bunch of the Guardians that each represent one of the 5 planets that Dormammu's trying to take in his big pentagram that he's drawn across the universe. So he's got like Groot and Drax and who else? Groot, Drax, Moondragon, and I think Star-Lord. They all like and himself. They all represent like each of the planets. And while he's taking his power, the idea is that he's going to make Dormammu powerless with magic, and then Rocket's going to come in with the big fucking gun that Cable stole.
Oh yeah, that's right, the big space gun,
and shoot him in the fucking head. And because he's got no magic to protect him, it's going to kill him. What's even better is that it's like, okay, so they can't exactly just fire this Mysterium shell at him. So what they do is like, it's like, okay, because the machines can't actually work it, we're going to replace the machines with Nova. And so Nova ends up becoming basically the firing pin of this machine.
Amazing. And
he shoots Dormammu in the head and like kills him, and just kind of sends him back to his realm. And yeah, the book ends with them all sort of having the big sort of Ewok celebration at the end. And yeah, the team are still a team, and they're going to probably be a team when the book comes back.
Yeah, for whoever that new writer is.
Yeah.
Whatever that new era is. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was great. I just like that they shot him in the head with a fucking big gun.
How do we beat the demon? Shoot him with a big gun.
Yeah, and I like that was born out of a joke that Rocket said. Rocket in like the second issue of it, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna get a big gun and just shoot him in the head, and that's what they end up doing.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
No.
All right, I guess that's everything then. That's all the books we covered this week.
That's everything.
Alrighty then. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and joining us and hanging out. We're glad we could come back and give you a new episode after taking the week off and everything there. Covered a lot of topics, had a lot of fun, and got a lot of great donations from you, the fans, which we greatly appreciate.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
As always, if you are a patron, you'll get to listen to the show first before anyone else for as little as $1 a month. Matt and I try and put up the audio and video versions there as soon as we can so you can see it before it goes live on the channel Wednesday, 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Big thanks to our sponsor, Wild Bill's Craft Soda. As always, you can use our promo code right down there at the bottom, Cape Joel, to get 10% off your first order. Oh, it's delicious in the summer, in the winter, and anytime. It's good stuff, and they're a trusted sponsor of the channel, which we appreciate.
Yeah, they've been good to us.
They have indeed been good to us, so that's always good. Someone in the chat saying, is the show weekly or bi-weekly now? No, it's still weekly. I just had to take a day off because I haven't had one in forever.
We had to have a couple of days off, yeah.
Yeah, Matt got called away and I was tired from waking up early and going to vote. I just burnt out from this. But hey, you got a really big show this week with lots of news. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and checking us out. Thank you as always to the patrons who, also help keep the lights on and help this thing going in a big way. And we'll be back again next week for more show, right, Matt?
Yeah, can't wait.
We sure will be. So until then, everyone, thank you so much for, spending your Sunday night here watching with us live. And we'll be back again next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.